to discuss their ongoing efforts to restore power. NES assured us that there are no further barriers that Metro can clear to speed up restoration of power, and they've given us reason to hope, with hundreds of additional line workers arriving over the past 24 hours to join the rest of the National Guard and our partners at TDOT to clear roadways and debris with a specific focus on clearing debris that enables NES to restore power faster. We'll share more data on that in a moment. I want to be clear, my office, Metro, and NES are aligned behind a common goal, restoring power to every Nashvillian. We've mobilized every resource to set NES up for success, and if they articulate any further needs, we'll swiftly step in to help. That is what Nashvillians need. At the same time, Nashvillians, like us, are asking for accountability, and that's what we'll deliver. This morning, I announced a piece of that accountability process for all of us. Today, I'm issuing Executive Order 58 to establish a 2026 Winter Storm Response Commission to review the comprehensive response to the storm. The commission will have the power to conduct hearings and request assistance from the Metro Auditor. They'll have investigative powers, including the ability to compel the attendance of witnesses and the production of records pertinent to the investigation of any hearing, and to administer oaths to witnesses. The commission will have 9 members, including 7 who are community leaders or experts in utility infrastructure, emergency response, and crisis communications. Vice Mayor Henderson and Metro Council President Pro Tempore Delicia Porterfield will be commission members, and my office will appoint the rest in the coming days, including the chair. I've asked the commission to return their initial findings to my office as soon as possible, with a final boundary at 6 months, and to be in constant communication with us, providing regular updates. Now, I'll say I couldn't be prouder of the Metro workforce that is mobilized to set up resources for everyone affected by the storm. And Nashvillians have affirmed what makes our city special. Nashvillians in every neighborhood are supporting each other through this unprecedented ice storm and its impacts, even as we work to support them as well. We've had multiple teams working 24/7, and I want to give special thanks to our line workers and the hundreds that have joined NES's own crews, supporting them from other communities and states. I know they've been out there busting it, working long shifts in awful conditions for more than a week. As of this morning, NES has restored power to more than 200,000 customers. They've also restored power to the 71 schools that lost power in the immediate aftermath of the ice storm. The roads are clear enough for bus service to resume, and tomorrow I'm happy that every school will be open and learning can continue. Dr. Adrian Battle from Metro Schools is here with more info on the plan for reopening schools. Dr. Battle.
Good afternoon. Over the past week, our city and our school community have been through an extraordinary challenge. Many families and staff have spent days without power or heat, and we know how difficult and exhausting that has been. Today, I want to share where we are, express our gratitude to those who helped our community recover, and explain what families and staff can expect this week. This afternoon, we welcomed our staff back into school buildings across the district. Overnight, on Sunday, Nashville Electric Service worked around the clock to restore power across the city, which resulted in all of our buildings being restored and power after a peak of more than 70 schools without power. We are deeply grateful to the line workers, electricians, and staff of NES who put in long hours to make that possible during dangerous conditions. Also want to thank Mayor O'Connell for his continued commitment to Nashville Public Schools and to the City of Nashville, as well as the departments and agencies who have been responding to this crisis. In particular, I appreciate the Office of Emergency Management for their leadership and support, as well as the Nashville Department of Transportation for working closely with our team to identify and address problem areas on roads as we move toward reopening safely. Throughout the week and over the weekend, our maintenance and facilities teams worked extended hours to prepare schools for a safe return. That work included addressing cold weather and power-related issues such as water leaks and heating system challenges that often emerge once power is restored. Today's return allows staff to come back into their buildings, check in on one another and our families, assess their classrooms, and begin planning for a return to normal operations tomorrow. Our teams worked diligently to ensure buildings were ready to welcome staff back this soon. We want to be clear that we will not open a school for students unless we are confident It is safe and warm. While some buildings may still have ongoing work, such as replacing ceiling tiles or completing minor repairs in normal operations, we will communicate that information as quickly as possible to families and staff. By bringing staff back today, we use a previously scheduled professional development day planned for February 16th. As a result, that day will now be a regular instructional day for students, and we have not exceeded our allotted inclement weather days. Looking ahead, if schools are required to close again due to weather and if remote learning is a viable option, that is the approach we would likely take. However, as we experienced this past week, widespread power outages can make remote learning infeasible. In those circumstances, we may need to request a waiver from the state to avoid extending the school year. We know many families and staff endure days without power or heat. That level of disruption takes a real toll, and we will continue leveraging our network of community partners and staff dedicated to wraparound supports to help meeting ongoing needs. Over the weekend, we partnered with Mercy Chefs and World Central Kitchen to provide thousands of warm meals, and MPS provided winter clothing to families. We are grateful for the resilience of our community that has shown, and for that many neighbors, staff, and partners who stepped up to support one another during this time. Our schools are more than places of learning. They are warm, welcoming spaces where students receive meals, support, and a sense of stability. I am deeply grateful to our maintenance, transportation, support staff, all of our educators and families, as well as our city partners who worked tirelessly throughout this past week to help our schools and community recover. We look forward to welcoming students back tomorrow as our city continues moving forward with a sense of normalcy. Thank you so much, and at this time, I'll hand it back over to Mayor O'Connell.
Thanks, Dr. Battle. It was great to be with you on Saturday at Pearl Cone High School at one of those distribution events with school and district leadership, faculty and staff, even students and other volunteers serving the community and meeting needs. And thank you also to all your parents around the city who've handled the last 6 days. And as a parent ourselves, I'll say this is a period of doing the best we can for our young learners. The best way to help all Nashvillians right now is to keep supporting the Winter Storm Recovery Fund. That fund has now accumulated more than $625,000 as of this morning, including support from Nashville native Reese Witherspoon, who's encouraged others to donate publicly. United Way of Greater Nashville is ready to start deploying these funds to nonprofits throughout our community based on greatest need from their charity tracker and 211 call data. United Way will post the recipients and amounts to their website. I'd like to invite Erica Mitchell from United Way of Greater Nashville up to offer more details on fundraising and how resources are being distributed, and I want to say thanks to all donors to the fund. They finalized the first payments to 4 agencies based on financial assistance just a few minutes ago, and we are so grateful for the support we're getting from the business community and all donors. Erica?
Good afternoon, everyone. As we know, Winter Storm Fern created urgent and widespread needs across the region. United Way of Greater Nashville's role is to coordinate, connect, and respond quickly, especially for our most vulnerable neighbors. We activated our disaster response this past week, and here is some of the data to date. Our 211 call center experienced nearly triple its normal call volume over the past week, fielding nearly 3,000 calls. The top needs we continue to hear are emergency housing, food access, warming centers, and basic needs. We partnered with Airbnb.org, an independent global nonprofit, to provide free emergency lodging for families displaced by the storm. Demand for emergency housing has been extraordinary. To meet that need, Airbnb.org expanded lodging capacity 4 separate times at our request. 752 people and 122 pets
Thanks, Erica, and we can't overstate enough the ways for Nashvillians to let us know about their needs. Again, you can call 211, or you can fill out the needs tracker on NashvilleResponds.com. After you've done either one of those, the VOAD team will reach out when resources become available to help with individual needs. Saturday, I was out helping NDOT and our guard clear debris off road so NDOT crews could get access to key areas as well as NES. NDOT's number one priority right now is supporting power restoration efforts by NES, but they've also been very busy clearing roadways and other rights-of-way of vegetation debris. The vast majority of roads across Davidson County are now clear of fallen trees and limbs. We do still have some other debris, and some of it will be on the curb. NDOT-led efforts have resulted in 4,500 trees and other vegetation in right-of-way being removed across the city. NDOT contractors have responded to over 2,500 tree and vegetation requests in the right-of-way around the city. 83 crews are working with our partners at TDOT and the Guard on vegetation removal in the right-of-way, as well as emergency repairs to potholes and other transportation infrastructure. And it's important to remember, as you're clearing your property, put the debris out of the right-of-way and off the sidewalk at the curb. Debris will get weighed and could increase Nashville's federal support based on the amount of debris. If there are other rights-of-way issues, please do submit those to Hub Nashville by visiting hub.nashville.gov, using the app on a smartphone, or calling 311. Our customer service teams have been working long hours too, and we've made them available, often around the clock. For example, you can call codes to get your weatherhead inspected 24 hours a day. That's the part of the grid that reaches from NES's portion to your house. Our average response time there is less than an hour because we can inspect those virtually and clear the way for NES to come restore power to individuals' homes. For more on overall operational efforts, as we have responded, I will invite Office of Emergency Management Director Chief Will Swan to come up. Director Swan.
Our community is still working on recovering from this winter storm. But as we try to get back into the normal flow of life, we understand there are a lot of people still without power. Our shelters housed more than 350 guests last night throughout the 4 warming shelters. We are still providing safe rides to and from the shelters. We could not do this without the collaboration between Office of Emergency Management, Nashville Fire Department, Metro Police Department, Nashville Schools, and WeGo in our Sheriff Department. So far, we've made well over 1,300 transports. Also, as we look at that number, we will continue to keep in consideration and have these open as long as they're needed. If you need a ride to one of the shelters, please call the hotline number 615-401-1712. A few safety notes. Number 1, if you are still without power, please take time out to familiarize yourself with Metro Code's guidelines to restore power properly to your residents. Today we have Will Dobbs here with the Codes Department to answer any other questions pertaining to this, but we have this information online if you go to nashville.gov and click on that top banner. Trash services are resuming. Waste services is trying to catch up on a lot of missed routes, and they're transitioning to a new pickup schedule. There are a lot of emergency drop-offs locations around the area. Nashville Waste Services has that information available online and also in the storm response section in nashville.gov. Lastly, as the weather is starting to warm up, that means that we could have some water main breaks and thawing pipes that could cause some issues. If you're currently without water, remember to turn off your main water shutoff so that when water is restored, it can help protect your home or businesses from water damages. Potential water main breaks should be reported to Metro Water Services as soon as possible. That number, 615-862-4600. That's 615-862-4600. Now I have Will Dobbs from the Codes Department that's here, so he can give a couple. No, we're going to do the Water Department. Yeah, Brent. We have Deputy Director Brent from the Water Department. If you don't mind, come up and give a little more detail on this.
Good afternoon. I want to stress a couple of things just to begin. Number one, water quality here in Nashville community remains safe. Secondly, we will continue to coordinate with TDEC and our state partners anytime any sort of questions arise as it relates to the water quality in our system. I also want to let everyone know that we have some good news. All of our pumping stations and reservoirs are in service. If someone does not have water, it is likely due to a localized main break, or it may be due to a frozen pipe. We would encourage them, if they have a frozen pipe, to close the main shutoff valve to their home. If they need some assistance with that, then please call us at 862-4600. And we would like to just emphasize that in terms of repairing main breaks, it will be our continued focus. As the temperatures rise, for us, the emergency is not over. In fact, as the ground shifts, we anticipate an increase in the number of water main breaks. Currently, we have 12 active repairs. We are currently investigating 14 other locations that may be a potential break as well. We have adequate capacity to address all of these breaks. We have repair crews that are assigned to every break, and we have crews on standby, and we have contractors that are available to step in and assist as needed. Since the winter event began, we have received 15,000 calls and investigated over 300 reported leaks. We've completed 70 main repairs at this time, and we've had over 1,000 work orders related to water meter work. Residents can also stop dripping their pipes as temperatures have begun to rise. As businesses and as people return to local businesses, we want to ask for their assistance. As they enter their place of work, if they can listen and look for broken pipes in their building, we'll be glad to respond and turn off water at their meter. And we want to ensure that we help them minimize any damage to their building. I want to reemphasize once again, water quality remains good. If customers do not have water, then please let us know. We want to help them get their service restored. Chief Swan.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you, Brent, for that update. And then we've also had some water distribution locations that we've distributed water as well. So thank you for that coordination. And as you guys can see, that it takes a lot of coordination and a lot of effort from many to get us back on track. That's our locals, our state partners, and we're working closely together so we can accomplish this. It takes all of us, including you. Again, check on your neighbors. We appreciate your patience, and together, as the mayor says, we're Nashville strong. We can get through this. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Director Chief Swan, and I've been out to the Emergency Operations Center many times over the past week. This is truly an effort of many hands. Finally, I wanted to share some of the life-saving work in progress from our Office of Homeless Services. Yesterday, they served 216 hot lunches, and they had accommodations for 8 pets. Many thanks to the partners helping them. Across everything that we've done, we've had a total of several thousand meals provided by Mercy Chefs, World Central Kitchen, and other partners like Taco Bell. We continue to operate emergency warming centers at the Fairgrounds Nashville, Bellevue Community Center, Madison Community Center, and Southeast Community Center. And again, transportation assistance is available to all locations, 615-401-1712. In every department, we've seen employees step up to answer the call, doing what it takes to ensure Nashvillians have the support and resources they need from local government. In a statement yesterday, I noted, Nashvillians can't get the last week back. Nights huddled under blankets, unplanned shelter or hotel stays, the uncertainty and fear of not knowing what's happening and how long it will take to simply return home. But I don't want to lose sight of what else we've seen. Friends and neighbors hosting one another for temporary stays, all kinds of staff and volunteers pitching in at shelters and with other kinds of recovery. The surge of people from other communities arriving to help ours. This is the stuff of Nashville Strong, and it's the stuff of hope. Staying strong, redirecting harder emotional responses into acts of kindness that pay it forward. This is how we get to a restored Nashville. With that, I'll turn it over to Alex, and we'll be happy to take some of your questions.
All right, we'll get to as many as we can today, and I want to thank all of you all that have worked long hours just as Metro has, so thanks for being here today. Why don't we start here, Emily?
Mayor, this question's for you. You appointed some people to the NES board, and that is a board that obviously has your appointments. Do you foresee firing anybody on the NES board, given the response and you saying you feel unsatisfied with what has happened?
I've had 2 appointments to the NES board this term. It is a 5-member board. They typically serve multi-year terms. We'll be evaluating upcoming appointments. We've had discussions. I have not yet evaluated what our opportunities are between the clarifications of asking for resignations versus firing. But I also feel like we are right now focused. We had NES board and executive leadership present yesterday, and I know they understand exactly how clear I've been in my expectations for what's happening this week.
Stay on this side, Dennis.
Might be a question for Chief Swan, but I definitely would want the mayor's reaction because you're demanding a better outcome. Tuesday night, midnight, 350 people is the bed count at the state fairgrounds. There are people with double paraplegics, people in wheelchairs, diabetics. There's a tremendous shortage of medical cots. There's 4 people staffed there, 2 police officers, 2 American Red Cross doing the best. Not a single medical professional mandatory staff. There is a volunteer nurse. There's no Tylenol, there's no Pepto-Bismol, there's no ibuprofen, there's no cough drops, there's no Dayquil, there's no NyQuil, there's no earplugs. This feels completely unprepared, and this is Tuesday night, day 4 of the storm. How could the city be so unprepared while we're inviting people to come down and we don't even have enough medical cots? There were people who could not lay on these cots. They needed the elevated medical cots, and they only had 3 or 4, and they needed 30 or 40. And I know it's not the responsibility, but what happened?
Yeah, I'll let Director Chief Swan talk about the process.
Yes, well, thank you for that. And I would love to get with you on the details for that particular statement because that's not what we're getting. Let me just make this clear. Our shelters are ran by our Red Cross, and we have wraparound services where we have state and also we have our state partners along with Dr. Ariola's thank you. And also, we have supplemented that with the Nashville Fire Department. We have EMTs or medics at those locations as well. So if we see that the demand that is there, we have to meet it, we will get those resources there immediately. I think Thursday night, we had an issue where we felt like the medical staff wasn't adequate. So we actually pulled from the Nashville Fire Department personnel to actually be assigned to those stations, to each shelter. So if a demand comes and we know it, we will meet that. But as to your point, these shelters are for people that are without power to residents. But we are getting influx from other places. So we try to make sure that we do the best way that we can, go into the shelters, evaluate what that need is, and meet it, meet it immediately. We are working closely with April Calvin, with the Homeless Commission, to make sure that we have the right services for these shelters because there's wraparound services that are needed for particular individuals. So we try to meet that. So I'll be more than happy if you have that information. I can get with you and give you the details of that particular circumstance. But again, there's a lot of rumors that's going around about particular incidents.
This is not a rumor. This is from an unimpeachable source who was there. A lot of people don't want to go public for a reason. They don't want to be punished.
Well, if we have a problem at the shelter, we need to know it so we can address it.
Why didn't we have a single public medical person, a professional medical person assigned Tuesday or Wednesday night? Why didn't we have any EMT? I'm not saying they didn't respond to the calls. I mean, this is Nashville. This isn't the Gaza Strip. Why did we not have it staffed appropriately when we knew what we were heading into?
Well, as I stated earlier, none of the shelters that I'm aware of that never had the proper resources there. If it was brought to our attention, then we immediately took care of it. So again, we hear things, and when people make accusations, or as you stated, when you've got a reliable source, it's good for us to know what that is so we can address it. But if it's a problem at one of the shelters, we will address it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's the best answer I can give you with that.
Dennis, I'll say we'll be happy to look into records on staffing. I'll say I have visited all three of the fairgrounds, Southeast and Madison Community Center myself. I know Tima was on the ground with governor's office staff having visited the fairgrounds. We've all been there. When I was there, I can tell you there were professional medical staff there. So we're gonna have to follow up on the allegations
This
you
Friday
got.
was fully staffed by all accounts.
Yeah,
Fully
so we'll have to follow up on the allegations you got.
If you give me that, I'll make sure.
We'll make sure you connect. Yeah. Kelly.
Mayor, you, like many other Nashvillians, expressed frustrations with NES leadership. You held a meeting yesterday. Right now you say NES no longer has any barriers to the restoration process. When you met with them, what did they say the barriers were? Because I know in the letter over the weekend you said you were going to address what barriers would make this timeline faster.
Yeah, I'll say when I had talked to or members of our team, or I think OEM and NDOT had spoken to them at various times throughout the week, it sounded like maybe there were some issues with roadways and access to outage sites, and we wanted to never hear that again. And so through the week, we made sure that Philip and the NDOT and TDOT surge, the contract surge, that we could we could cover not just our routes and everything, but that we weren't going to get there. By Friday night, I think Philip advised from NDOT that with 56 reports from NES coming in, we closed out every single one of those. So that's the kind of thing where we're offering that support. Same thing. We were just pressing and pressing and pressing to say, do we need to jump in to assist with sourcing additional line workers? Yesterday, we were assured that we had hundreds more coming online this week. And so, again, that's where I'm looking forward to this week being the best performance we've seen yet.
And is it because you had that meeting, hundreds of line workers are now added? If not for that meeting, would it just be the same? Is it faster because you met with them?
It's harder to tell the answer to that question. I just know that it was encouraging to hear in that meeting that they felt like they're at like this, they are going to hit that point of peak performance, which is what we had been pushing for.
Jeremy.
Thank you. Appreciate you answering our questions. I want to piggyback on what Emily had what she asked. The CEO of NES was approved for a 10% pay increase in November. Do you believe anyone from NES management should resign as a result of how this is handled?
Jeremy, I guess I'd put it this way. This is going to be ultimately a question for the NES board, where we've only had 2 appointments this term and management to work through together. They just had a board meeting last week where they were getting briefed. We're going to put plenty of after action into this. The commission we're announcing today, I know for the NES board will want to review their own performance for this. Director Chief Swan will run an OEM after action on this. I think in the middle of the crisis, we're focused on getting power restored, and when we get there, we'll start to ask a lot more questions.
NES obviously hasn't scheduled a news conference, so we don't know when we're going to get questions to them, but you have met with them. Are you getting any indication that NES customers are going to see their bills increase as a result of having to pay for the storm?
Bills increase?
Yes. Will NES customers ultimately have to pay more on their bills to pay for this storm?
I've gotten no indication of that, but I think there are also a lot of things about the disaster recovery process that they'll have to go through. But right now, we've not had any indication that this would result in a jump in bills.
Final question. The debris that everyone has in their yards, it's piling up. It's a mess. What is the city doing? What should people expect to have to pay for, and how soon will that debris be picked up?
I'll let Philip talk about this, and then I'll reference back to something Erica said. Philip, do you want to talk about where we are with NDOT plans?
Yes, sir. We've got, as of this morning, we've got 8 of the big offloader trucks that you'll see that are hitting the real thick areas that are heavy loaded. Right now, what we're going to ask everyone, we've got a plan put together. We've got 4 temporary sites already in motion. They've got the tub grinder set up. What we're going to ask is everybody put your material at the curb. Not asking any resident to bring it. Just put it to the curb. We're going to make a pass through, clean the entire county. It will be multiple passes. Right now we're identifying, we're still in the middle of this, so recovery starts now. So we've got trucks out this morning picking up the big areas to give them room so they can put some more debris, but we just ask everybody put it on the curb. We'll be picking it all up.
And Jeremy, I'll tell you, those multiple passes are necessary because, to Philip's point, we're still out countywide clearing things, and even after we've cleared some sites, additional trees or branches have continued to fall. So there's 2 things happening simultaneously. One is continuing to clear roadways of things that are in the middle as obstacles and obstructions. Those things typically get pushed to the curb too, and so we'll have multiple passes because we're still going to be finding some stuff that is getting moved to the curb even as we're picking it up. But that's Metro's response. And then I think you heard Erica talk about we will have Hands on Nashville looking at a bunch of different debris responses. When I was in 2010, when the city was responding to the flood, I worked with a local organization that partnered with Hands on Nashville on Greenway cleanup. And so you're going to start to see those types of activities as well. So it's kind of a comprehensive approach but most of that tree, brush, vegetation that's been a result of ice fall. NDOT's got it countywide. And then we have those temporary locations. But for most people, the recommendation is going to be just move it to the curb. We'll get to it.
And Jeremy, just to add that debris can be weighed too and impact how the city gets long-term aid as well. Let's go to Karen here.
A Metro Council member told me about 15 minutes ago that you have the authority to remove NES board members. So based on that, if the commission you established finds that NES was not prepared, are you willing to change NES board members?
We will definitely evaluate, one, our legal authority, because we've also understood that Metro Council can do this by resolution. So we're going to have to look at who's got what authority in that regard. We also know that there will be at least 1 appointment up this year. We'll be looking at all those things.
All right, earlier in the week, there was an NES board meeting when all of this was happening. And the NES board members, the majority of them, didn't really seem to challenge NES leadership. Obviously, potentially that too has changed. But based on the comments of NES board members leading up to your committee that you've established, do you feel that NES board members should rebuke what NES leaders have done up to this point?
We've been primarily focused on Metro's operational response and how that aligns with NES. I haven't gone back and looked at that NES board meeting yet. That will definitely be a subject of upcoming conversations.
Let's go here in the front, near. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a weird question, but I have to do it. My audience asking about, we are in emergency, the schools are back, right? But a lot of them don't have electricity in their homes. That means they don't have hot water to take showers to go to the school. Also, a lot of the kids with no electricity are sick. Maybe with a virus or something can contagious another persons, another kids around. So they want to know if they don't send into the school that access wanna be counting and sending to the court, they are scared about.
You wanna start?
I'll let Dr. Battle, if she wants, or Maura, whoever you want to have come up and talk about this, but I think some of these are Metro Schools operational questions.
Thank you so much for your question. Hopefully in my comments earlier today, you could hear just our commitment and our care for our students, our families, and our educators. Just like the other 145 districts across the state of Tennessee, we're required to have plans in place with regards to instructional days and inclement weather procedures. We saw just last week that almost every school district in the state of Tennessee was out. So we'll be aligning that, and we have aligned that already to our administrative procedures. Part of us coming back today with our staff, and many of our educators have already accomplished this, is checking in on one another, our staff and our teams. That was a message I sent to my team yesterday, but also checking in with families. Us getting back to a sense of normalcy allows us to structure ourselves in a way that we can get that information so that we can respond properly. We will also continue to connect our families and our educators to the resources that the city has pulled together for us so that we can address any number one of those concerns and issues. So we'll be connecting, navigating that to the best of our ability, but we're trying to get all that information in-house so we can respond properly.
Excused absences, or do you help? Is that a part of that?
Yes, and that's our normal procedure. If there is an extenuating circumstance, we encourage our families to send in notes to let us know what's happening. Hopefully we're finding that information out today, or we already have it. So send that information in, and the same thing follows for our educators as well. We encourage everyone to take care of yourself, take care of one another, and allow our community to do what it does best, and really wrapping our arms around each other towards the recovery process.
And we know it's been a hard week, especially if you've got an illness on top of that. I would say public health guidance would say don't come to school in that scenario. I'll say from firsthand experience, we're lucky, again, that what Dr. Battle just said is present at our two daughters' schools, where we have the opportunity to advise about attendance. And so I'm hoping people will take advantage of that from a parental and family standpoint.
Yeah, and you highlighted acute needs too. It helps us help them. If you can call 211, use the needs tracker on NashvilleResponds.com, because it's bigger than just schooling needs as well. Let's go here, Austin.
I have another question about yesterday's meeting with NES leadership. In your statement on that meeting, you talk about how it was troubling that there are details NES leadership shared about their internal outlook that they hadn't previously shared that would have had a huge impact on the public guidance that the city gave in the beginning of the winter storm. So kind of a twofer for you. One, what exactly do you mean when we talk about that internal outlook that they didn't share? And then two, how would it have meaningfully changed
Sure.
how you message everything?
Yeah, Austin, great, thank you. And I'll say, we heard a lot more clearly from NES than at any point I had heard things like the need to get the backbone of the system online as quickly as possible, right? So the high voltage scenario, the need to do the assessment of damage, which now has resulted in more than 700 utility poles down, and that process alone could take several days during the week. I think, we, like many Nashvillians, were probably very encouraged over that first 24 to 48 hour period at the rate of restorations, but the fact that those were some of the easier restorations to accomplish, knowing that the others were there. I think if we had had that full sense of the damage to their system, including the backbone earlier, you heard Director Chief Swan and I shift our guidance by midweek to go ahead and pursue Plan B. I think we would have preferred to give that guidance sooner.
All right, we got time for about three more. Let me make sure I've gotten to everybody once. Sarah Selly, I don't think we've come to you yet.
For days, people were asking NES for a timeline of when power would be restored. The earliest date we've seen is February 8th. After yesterday's meeting, do we have a more accurate date for when full power will be restored?
After yesterday and coming into the weekend, what we heard in the meeting was, yes, they are day by day increasing their own confidence in their estimates. They have done that system-wide assessment similarly to one that was done by NDOT for infrastructure, which is how you build the plans from that. I think today's surge in line worker capacity means that we may see, I can't make any guarantees, but as they refine estimates and what we've already seen in a day's refresh, it looks like if we go back to the initial estimates from February 1st and look again into this week, you've already seen some encouraging trends, so we're hoping to see those continue.
And our understanding, that's a twice daily update to those timelines. All right, I think we got everybody twice, or maybe one more. All right, let's go Logan here, and then we'll finish up front here.
Hearing from some Latino Nashvillians that they're a little hesitant to go to warming shelters because of possible ice encounters or give away personal information. Have our office heard any of these concerns? Done anything to address them?
We have heard those concerns. I will say we're very lucky to have multiple partners in the community-based organizations who specialize in Spanish-speaking or other immigrant and refugee communities and the outreach. You've probably seen there have been some phone banks, food distributions, organizations like Connexion. You heard Connexion was one of the first organizations to be funded through the Winter Storm Recovery Fund. TIRC, the Tennessee Immigrant and Refugee Rights Coalition, we know has been phone banking. The VOAD process has been out there. We've certainly tried to make sure accommodations are available that are official or partnered with American Red Cross, but we know some people don't want to necessarily come to a congregate location, so we're very fortunate to have that mix of community-based response with official formal response to cover those concerns and sensitivities.
Finish this off?
Yeah, hi, Travis Lawler, Social Worker. Just again back to NES. You know, there's been questions from the beginning about whether they had enough linemen coming, and they've been really vague in their communications, and I think you have noted about, you know, sort of making excuses for why they didn't. You know, now now you said they have even more coming. I mean, what is going on there? Do they just not have enough people in the pipeline, or?
I think what you've seen is what we've seen, that the ability for crisis communications had a hard time meeting the moment of the largest crisis in their institutional history. What I can tell you, though, is they've definitely heard us loudly and clearly. We have been pushing toward better alignment. I will tell you, our staff and theirs were working through the weekend. We expect to have them have a stronger presence at our EOC. We also expect to have a stronger mayor's office presence in their operations center as we work through the week and try to get power fully restored.
Is there a reason they're not at the news conference?
We wanted to get through some of these issues where we want to make sure that we understood full well every day what was going to be presented, and so we're working through making sure that our communications team, their communications team, our data visualization team is working with them to get that there. So again, working toward that alignment.
The governor says that he's been talking to you daily. What has gone down? What do you guys talk about on that?
All right, last one.
Yeah. It's really check-ins, it's status briefings, it's making sure that the team and OEM process is working well. He certainly had questions about the operational issues with NES, but I will say yes, he and I have been in personal touch, our offices have been in touch. It's another good alignment point of contact. I'm happy to let Director Swan follow up with you on that.
Yeah, thanks everybody. We'll be back tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Our anticipation is that we will be back. We're out of time for today.